Welcome to the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innis. It is my great joy to be the minister with this congregation of people of all ages at all stages of life. This is a beloved community striving to live into its mission of embracing freedom, growing in mind, body, and spirit, loving wholeheartedly, and adding to the wholeness and the healing of the world. What we mean with this is that we celebrate good things whenever we can. We provide opportunities to strengthen relationships. We want to grow as individuals and we want to grow as a community. We want to help each of you, each of us, live into your spiritual fullness, live into your spiritual potential. We also take to heart our connection with the world. This land is the ancestral home of the Peoria people. They and other nations were here long before the first European settlers came down the Illinois River. So we take a moment to honor the Peoria people for who they were and for who they are today. I also want to add a warm welcome to folks who are visiting us, whether it's the first time or it's been some of the recent times. This is no small thing to come into an established community and say hi in all the ways we do that. So thank you for joining us. And please see our greeters and ushers. We have plenty of name tags. We love the questions and help us get to know you as well. And you're welcome to stay after the service. You might have seen that our usual seating is displaced by books because, boy, we love a book. If we can't have a book, let's just love them all, right? And we got them all in our fellowship hall today. But stay for coffee and conversation after the service. If you're joining us online, please stay for that conversation as well. And I want to invite folks at this point to set your respective devices to worship mode. We go with Android or Apple. We go both ways in all that. And I have a few notes for today. So today, in case you didn't notice, is the big UU book sale. We like books great and small, but we love a big book as well. Today is the $5 for a bag of books, except for the specially priced book. And I have had a request. We received so many books this year. We have exceeded our goal. Thank you. Can I just say thank you? And yes, yay. We have exceeded our goal, but we still have like a room full of books. I think we'll figure it out, but I think we're going to keep the sale open or maybe through the next weekend so that we can just give a chance for more books to go to good homes. Let me just say, we really want them to go to good places. So we're going to keep the sale open for a little bit longer. Don't be shy. Tell friends and neighbors. We'll put up a new notice about that. And when we send out the call for please help us pack up the rest of the books, please come on over and help pack up the rest of the books. Thank you. And in 2 weeks, I can't quite believe that it's just 2 weeks from now, we have our Haunted Forest. That'll be October 19th. It is a big deal. If you haven't been with us before, we turn the loop of trail in our woods into a life-size, full-size haunted forest experience. It is not to be missed. It's good for pretty much everybody of all ages. And we have lots and lots of people who come through, and this is our 4th year doing this. So I want to invite folks to sign up to help. We need donations of candy. We need help in all kinds of ways. And we'll be getting ready for that. We'll be unloading the stuff from the attic. The Halloween stuff from the attic comes down after service next Sunday. And that's when the Haunted Forest begins. And we are, at this time of year, we're finishing up our invitation to kind of regroup and recompose our small groups for the coming year. And in that spirit, I want to invite Dave Grebner to come forth and say something about our small groups.
Good morning. I've been in a covenant group, we call them, for quite a while. And I was in an all men's group. There's I think there's an all-women's group too, I believe. Yeah. And I'm in a mixed group now. And what we do is we do a check-in. And there's usually about, 8 of us there or something in that vicinity. But we do a check-in, and during that, we share some of the things that are going on in our lives, the joys and sorrows, and know that it within that group. So, what's spoken there stays there, and it's like a small, caring community. And then we have a topic that we discuss. For example, what does community mean? And then we have some quotations by the group leader comes up with some quotations and puts them on a sheet, and we have to read. And then we discuss that quote, and we discuss our ideas about that topic. So, in our group usually meets like a couple of times a month, and I highly recommend it. It's very good. It's just, you feel it's a close-knit little community that is very supportive. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Yes, we still have, you can fill out a form, you can come and talk to me. We're still, if you're still interested in that, by all means, come and ask questions. And for those who are waiting to hear where you're going to be placed, we're still sorting that out. So we will let you know as soon as possible. All right. And now I'd like to invite us into our opening hymn, number 298, Wake Now My Senses. Please rise in body or spirit. It's in the gray hymnal if you want to follow with the music.
Is that on? Okay. The opening words today are "Let Us Be Awestruck" by Reverend Kristen Gressel Schmidt. The Jewish New Year commemorates the creation of the world, the bringing forth of order where once there was only chaos, the birth of the building blocks of life. Man in silhouette playing a shofar during sunset on Lake Erie. Jews in our community and around the world celebrated Rosh Hashanah last week. Let us all celebrate. Let us all marvel. Let us all be awestruck for the same force that brought our planet into being, the same force that evolved tiny atoms and molecules and DNA into intelligent life, the same power that transforms summer into autumn and autumn into winter. That same power is still at work in the universe and in us, always bringing around new seasons, new creations, new possibilities. Breath of life, breathe in us, with us, and through us. This day, as we gather, one in community, one in commitment to truth, love, and justice. Open our minds and hearts to the new that's always being created. Come, my friends, let us celebrate, let us marvel, let us be filled with awe. Come, let us worship together.
And I invite Dave Grebner forward for our chalice lighting.
Always a Voice Arises by Reverend Scott Taylor. As we light this flame, may we hear what it has to say. Come back to your center, it calls. Return to the quiet, it whispers. The quiet we long for and that longs for us. From this stillness, always a voice arises if we let it. So come, friends, let us listen once again. Let us find the flame inside that guides us back home.
In this moment, we enter into a stillness. We enter into reflection, that we may pay attention, that we may be present to what is in us and within us and around us. Let us enter into this time of reflection. During our music for meditation, you're welcome to come forward and light candles and hold all that is with you in the embrace of this circle. Let us enter into our music for meditation. Now is the time for the sharing of the joys and sorrows of the congregation, mingled with the joys and sorrows of the world. I'll start with a joy. And let's see. So we have a joy from BJ Lindsay. Uh, she accepted a job offer for her dream job with the state of Illinois starting October 16th. Congratulations, BJ. Woohoo! And now I turn to sorrow. I find I need to share two deaths with the congregation today. One, we offer our sympathies to the family of Larry Matthews. Larry Matthews, he died on Wednesday after a short stay in hospice. His wife Terry and their family had time with him towards the end. And now I need to turn to another sorrow. As of this morning, we also mourn the death of Heather McMeekin. This one is sudden and unexpected. She had had surgery for an ongoing abdominal pain this week, and a second surgery yesterday revealed much more damage. Her children and many of her chosen family were with her over the weekend. She was a friend and a civil rights organizer and a fierce, fierce warrior. We'll offer news about plans for memorials when they come into being. And in our larger world, we extend our care for the millions of people impacted by Hurricane Helene. The generosity of this moment of people responding is beautiful, even as the loss is without measure. For those of us with direct connections, it is hard to witness. And it feels like there's little that we can do, but I will say simply affirming those who are committed to good care and good response, federal and state, private, local, individual, those all make a difference. I have seen that this week. I want to offer a note and a brief reflection in recognition of National Coming Out Day that is coming up this week for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, intersex, asexual, two-spirit plus community. And this is from my colleague, H.P. Rivers. Blessed are the wanderers seeking affirmation. Blessed are the worshipers praying from closets, pulpits, pews, and hardship. Blessed are the lovers of leaving, leaving family and familiarity, leaving tables where love is not being served. And blessed are those who stay. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for justice, for they will be satisfied. And blessed are the queer, disciples of truth, living, breathing, sacred reflections of divine love. We recognize National Coming Out Day in all its forms for the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, questioning, asexual, intersex, two-spirit plus community. I want to add a note of recognition we haven't done yet this month, which is for Hispanic Heritage Month. And I do so recognizing that the immigrant and empire experience is a deep part of this recognition and is a part of our public struggle in this election time. Let us affirm the value in cherishing where each of us comes from. Let us get connected instead of choosing fear and estrangement. And let us choose information and curiosity instead of assumptions. Let us commit living into the value of inherent worth and dignity of every person. Let us take one more moment in this shared quiet. Let this circle expand to include all the names, milestones, joys, and sorrows that are with us, whether spoken or silent. Let us hold this silence together. Amen. Salam, shalom, and blessed be. And now we have the story told by Regina Stanley.
The Jewish holidays, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, mark the beginning of the Jewish New Year. These holidays offer a season for looking backward, for measuring the year, and measuring ourselves. The New Year season offers the opportunity to think of past mistakes, apologize, and begin once again to be better. Our story today is Measuring a Year, a Rosh Hashanah story by Linda Elovitz Marshall. How do you measure a year? By looking at how much you grew? Or all the things you learned to do? Through pictures, stories, things you made? Kids you met or places stayed? Trees you planted, flowers grown? A move away, a brand new home? Times you were sad or so afraid? Times you were strong and super brave? Things you wish you hadn't said or that you hadn't done? Times when everything was right and everyone had fun? Weddings, bar mitzvahs, times making new friends? Or coming home when travel ends? Our lives have changed in many ways. So on these special holidays, we give thanks for being here and wish each other a sweet new year. Shana Tova. I wonder how you measured your year. What happened that we are proud of? Where did we make mistakes? Did we hurt someone? What makes us happy? What makes us sad? I wonder how we can begin again and be better. I invite the children back to religious education now, and if you'd like to join me in singing them out.
I can't imagine I'm the only one who might think of measure a year and you might think of a certain song. 525,600 minutes, 525,000 moments so dear. 525,600 minutes. How do you measure a year? But yeah, that was from Rent, just in case anybody was wondering. So, but I tell you, it is something to mark the time. It is something to mark the time and be intentional in our lives. And in part, we do so when we receive an offering each Sunday. It is an act of recommitting. It is an act of committing in the first place for some of us. It is as much a ritual as singing, as lighting the chalice, as all the things we do. It is a reminder of that form of love we call generosity. And it's how we show what we believe is important. It's important to worship together, to gather together as community, to say yes to what we hold true. And we also, in receiving a bit of the offering, we send a portion back out into our community. We practice sharing the plate, where we practice sharing half of the undesignated funds received on our Sunday collection with a local organization doing good work. So for this month we are supporting Product of the Project, known as POP. And they work with young people to develop character, accountability, positive relationships, financial literacy, healthy lifestyles. And the youth who are part of these programs give back to the community, develop leadership skills, and gain work ethics and gain pride in their lives and themselves. I know last week the product of the project was with Peoria High School, Emmanuel High School. They were emphasizing the importance of voting, not just as a civic duty, but as a powerful way to shape our communities and our futures. So let us support the good work of POP. So again, half of our undesignated plate goes to our Share the Plate recipient. Please indicate where you'd like your donation to go as the plates go by. You're welcome to go to the QR code on the order of service as well. And let me invite the ushers to please come forward. A reading for today is a shofar blast to shake us up by Rabbi Angela Bookdahl. So first, let me share the image of a shofar. It's a ram's horn that is the instrument for this moment. It is blown in a distinctive pattern at the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, the start of the new year in the Jewish tradition. And that event also happens at night. So we don't have that sound. We are at the wrong time of day, but I will invite you into that call and hear her words. If you've come here on Rosh Hashanah and feel that there is nothing to examine, no wound in your life to heal, no relationship to repair, then I hope you will listen especially closely to the shofar. Rosh Hashanah is also known as Yom Teruah, the day for sounding the shofar. And the purpose of the shofar blast is to wake us up. It is to shake us up. It is to disturb our status quo. Shofar call shevarim literally means broken. And if you do not feel any cracks emerge from that sonic signal, shevarim, you might ask yourself if you've truly fulfilled your obligation to hear it. For the shofar blast should be a wake-up call that reminds us to dig a little deeper, to bear into what is hard, to stop living life on the surface of it all, to return to fractured relationships, to learn, lean into the grief you've been feeling for someone you've lost, to examine the imperfections that we constantly criticize, and then get curious. Perhaps this pain, this flaw, this broken heart has purpose. Here ends the reading. I invite you to join me for our hymn number 391, Voice Still and Small. It is in the gray hymnal. If you care to follow along, please rise in body or spirit. Please be seated. Maybe it begins with setting the table. Placing a dish and a fork and a spoon and a knife, a cup and a bowl. I feel the pieces. They are familiar. They are wood or ceramic, metal, especially drawn to the organic materials in simply setting the table. I'm not actually conscious much of doing this because I don't need to be. I am in the task. I'm getting ready for the coming meal because it's time to do so. not because I might be actually hungry, but because it's simply time to do so. I don't have to think in doing this setting of the table. I don't have to wonder whether I'm sniffling or weeping or looking off into the distance because my mind is too full of pictures of conflict, of brokenness, of sorrow and rubble and blood. I don't know what to do, so I will do what I know. Even bringing out apples sliced and honey with a spoon. Ready for what I hear is celebrated as a new year with sweetness and wishes. But all I can do is set the table. This week is the celebration of the High Holy Days in Judaism. It began with Rosh Hashanah a few days ago. It is the new year, and then 10 days later, it is Yom Kippur. And in that time between is the time set aside for owning mistakes, making apologies, making amends, if possible, clearing relationships and obligations. And at the end of that time, after doing our best to fulfill all that, to take care of what is broken, one's name might be written in the book of life for another year. Something about the mystical quality of that book of life really speaks to me. There is something beautiful, and I'm not a believe in God with a person kind of person, but I love the idea of a big glowing book. I do. I love this idea of this tome, cosmic, if you will, something in the cosmos where life is inscribed. And we need perhaps that measure of power of life in the face of so much that is broken. Because tomorrow, in part, tomorrow is the anniversary of October 7th, when Hamas invaded Israel, kidnapped hundreds, and killed so many more. It is the start of Israel retaliating. It has been the start of the Palestinian genocide. And if that was not enough, in the past weeks especially, we have seen increase in violence and conflict and active conflict between Israel and Hezbollah. We are, so many of us, wondering what's going to happen next. As Rabbi J. Michelson says in his article on Forward, this is the most disorienting Rosh Hashanah in memory. We are in the moment of a metastasizing war that inspires uncertainty, anxiety, and ambivalence. And I need to pause and recognize that this is not something that just began on October 7th. That is not that kind of story. It didn't just happen out of nowhere. We are in the throes of ages of history and conflict and politics and power. We are at the whim of people's desires in the past and our flawed humanity right now, in all of its generosity, in all of its wonder, in all of its selfishness. This is a disorienting time. So I want to just pause and recognize that in this moment. Where are we? What shall we do with this moment in such a deeply fraught instance based in power and wars and politics and oppression. I'm going to begin with a point that I took from Jay Michelson's article. He brought out the word resilient. I think that's been one of those words that we keep returning to again and again in the face of all kinds of conflict and all kinds of challenge in our life, especially in the last several years. And I just want to offer a moment and say, I'm tired of resilience. I've had enough. Don't call me resilient. Don't cry for resilience immediately too soon. It is too soon. Don't just jump there. This is hard and ugly. It's too soon for resilience. Rather, I appreciate the image of confusion that Michelson offers. He looks at Ecclesiastes 1:6, that the wind spins around and the wind returns. The wind spins around and the wind returns. You're finding this in a very embodied and heartbreaking way in our climate this moment, aren't we? It's not just political, it's real and environmental as well. The world spins. But what does offer something, some other way of thinking about this, is the days of awe, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur themselves, because they are meant to be on the grand scale. They are meant to be a cosmological event, a spiritual event, a global event. And it's meant for every scale, the personal and the community, and the national and around the world. The wind spins round and the wind returns, and so does the chance for renewal, for returning, for measuring a year. And that gives enough room, perhaps. Does that give enough room? If it's the cosmological, maybe it's enough room for grief. Maybe that's enough room for grief. I don't know about you. But it's enough, it can be enough room for sorrow, for lament, for rage at ourselves in our personal assessments of screwing up and being too late and wondering when we might redeem ourselves, when we might simply offer forgiveness, offer an apology, ask for forgiveness. Maybe it's enough room to be thoroughly disoriented, dislocated, disrupted in this season while simultaneously stuck in our own biases and expectations and assumptions, stuck in how we wind ourselves up, wind up our neighbors, making it even harder to know humanity, our own, our neighbor, or the people we love. So instead of resilience, how about simply presence? To be in the fullness of our lives. I think this is partially what the days of awe call us to, is to give us a window of time to be a big mess a cosmological mess inside each one of us. Can I get it? Yep, that would be me. Yep, yep, yep. Hot, cold, everything in between. Tepid, sometimes a tepid mess. And I invite each of us to let that be present for us. To the degree that it is safe for you in this context, not all of us can enter into that reflection without help. Where am I? And where are you? What is, I think, the most essential and important things to hold on to and to live into? To find our center as the wind spins around. I think it is things that we talk about, but maybe seem simple. Can be joy, can be love, it can be justice. It could be simply company, waiting and watching, and making sure that everybody can be invited to the table. For the global, we can start with the personal, but I want to just touch on the global for a moment. We are called to be authentic. We are called to be honest about our own biases, our own concerns, our own fears, and to offer witness for the struggle that is taking place with our neighbors on the other side of the ocean. We can advocate for the people while calling for an end to violence, for an end to war. I know the Jewish community is going to have a moment to mark this anniversary, and it's going to be complicated to sit in that moment. But sticking to advocating for the people, calling for an end to violence, and expecting leadership to be mature and to choose the same. Just in that effort and focus and hope, we can defy what so many would have us do in demonizing each other, dehumanizing each other, and choose connection instead. Now, I can say this, and I feel like I've been saying this again and again, and feels like it's a broken record, but this is the work. This is the practice of being fully mortally human with all our fabulousness and all of our flaws, and knowing that all the people around the world have the same. This is the work. This is the work. And so we can take our own humility and authenticity and concern and care and reach out. When's the last time each of us reached out to our Jewish neighbors, our Muslim neighbors, our Middle Eastern neighbors? They have to be afraid. They are. Reach out for so many more marginalized communities. Remember, this week is National Coming Out Day. Who needs your care this week? It's Hispanic Heritage Month. Who needs to be seen and recognized as fully human this week? Who isn't in your life and might be? That book of life, I love that image, and it's not just exclusive to any one faith tradition. Shall we write each other in that book? What are we waiting for? I want to return to the image of setting the table, because to me, that's part of that cosmological act, that one presence of readiness, of being present to, equipping and preparing for how to be nourished, how to be fed, how to receive that nourishment. This is part of the practice of the being human. My colleague, Reverend Sophia Betancourt, she's our president of our Unitarian Universalist Association, she says, "When I pray for the needs of the world, I do not stop at justice or the cessation of sorrow, though the world desperately needs both. My prayers push through to thriving, to blessedness, to joy. I want every person and every being free. And it is the ancestors themselves who remind me to invest in nothing less. My prayers push through to thriving, to blessedness, to joy. I want every person and every being to be free." So we set the table not just for ourselves, but for everyone. It is not a single setting, but it is settings enough for all who will be at the table. So in this moment, in this Rosh Hashanah, in this days of awe, we welcome one another. We offer humility, we offer apology, we offer recognition of harm done that we might reconnect and be reborn and refreshed for the year to come. It is so deeply hard. And yet, the meal and the work will go on. Amen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
Out into the world, Use Our Inner Sparks by Amanda Alice Houlihan. Together we have enjoyed the warmth and beauty of stories, of this flame, and of this special community. As our chalice flame is extinguished this morning, we can still remember that its glow is carried within us. We can still use our inner lights and this flame to kindle new sparks throughout our lives and in the world. May the spirit of peace and togetherness bless your lives.
Go now with passion, with hearts and minds and hands renewed to the world that is waiting for you. Go out to the world to bring your gentle touch to those in pain. Go out to feed and house those in need. Go out to speak truth to power. Go out with courage to do the work which calls you. And go out now with passion and faith to change the world. Our worship is ended. Let our service begin.